hope and pray that every one of you must have a wonderful journey in the Bahulavan, where wonderful pastime happened with Lord Sri Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. As in the Jarikhand, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu involve all the animals chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Similarly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed that pastime in Bahulavan also. And wonderful places we are walking from Santanukun to Radhakun. That's our 6 days of Brajamandala Parikrama. Wonderful places is coming on the way, so we can really absorb in those wonderful pastimes. Remember while we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Vrindavan atmosphere is so pleasing, you know. If we can recall wonderful lakes, so many wonderful waterfalls, all the trees and creepers are full of fruits and vegetables and flowers. Aroma is scented. The atmosphere works under the desire of Krishna. It's so glorious atmosphere to sit and chant. So those spiritual warriors who joined and made our journey successful was Ishwar Krishna Prabhu, Yamuna Sundari Mataji, Ivy Gautam, Shubhra Mataji, Ravi Pipilia Prabhu, Rajeshwari Priya Devidasi, Govinda Gita Devidasi, Kasturi Manjari Mataji, Sishtastika Devidasi, Parmeshwari Devidasi, Amol and Smita Pandey, Raghav Chaitanya Prabhu, Girivardhari Prabhu, Shriya Devidasi, Sitala Priya Devidasi, Sachinandan Krishna Prabhu, Manani Mataji joined from India today, Hari Bol. Srinivas Acharya Prabhu, Hanuman Prabhu, Prathamesh Prabhu, Nadia Kumar Prabhu, Saman Prabhu, Leela Manjari Mataji, Rag Bhakti Mataji, Survangi Syam Devidasi and Narsimha Leela Chaitanya Prabhu also joined today, Hari Bol. Sugandharaj Prabhu, Aradhana Devidasi, Janki Khan Prabhu, Lavanga Latika Mataji, Tapti Ghosh Mataji, Manmatha Anand Prabhu, Sundari Radha Mataji, Parmanand Hari Prabhu, Nandan Priya Mataji, Pandurang Devdas Prabhu, Damodarati Mataji, Shrika and Pankaj Gupta, Rohit Mishra Prabhu, Pranath Gopal Prabhu, Radhika Prem Devidasi, Saraswati Devidasi, Shumidra Radha Devidasi, Devendra Krishna Prabhu, Devyansan Saloni, Raj Vinod Prabhu, Anand Vinodini Mataji, Priyanka Mataji, Rukmani Priya Mataji, I don't know Devi Murti Devidasi join or not, but she has the sincere desire to join every day at the same time. May holy name and Krishna help her. Kishore Krishna Prabhu, Namanand Prabhu, Prem Vinodini Mataji, Madhvi Gopi Mataji, Ganga Devidasi, Uttam Bhakta Prabhu, Vallabhi Mataji, Rajendra Prabhu, Abhay Prabhu, Swedi Prabhu, Vijay Keshav Prabhu, Amalatman Prabhu, Gadadhar Chandra Prabhu, Tulsi Priya Devidasi, Jai Govind Prabhu, Bhadra Bharti Mataji, Kamal Mukha Krishna Prabhu, Sarvatarak Prabhu, Amal Ram Prabhu, Barsana Rani Mataji, Govind Mohini Devidasi, Krita Lakshman Prabhu, Manoj Kapoor Prabhu, Kamal Priya Mataji, Karunamai Mataji, Radha Charan Prabhu, Abhay Charan Prabhu, Shukruti Devidasi, missing their daughter Lakshmi, Kamini Priya Mataji, Sankarsan and Manjari, Sundari Leela Mataji, Sarmishta Sahi, Mamta Mataji, Balram Prabhu, Radha Vallabh Prabhu, Shyam Sundar Prabhu, Harikatha Devidasi, Rasa Kida Prabhu, Anand Radhika Mataji, Pitambar Priya Prabhu, Advait Prabhu, Rajesh and Sweta, Chintamani Devidasi, Amit Prabhu, and Prem Priya Padma Mataji, Suchitra Devidasi, C. Kumar Prabhu. Sumit Prabhu is not joining for last 2-3 days. Hari Bol. Kanta Devidasi, Rasmi Mataji, Srinivas Charan Prabhu, Shrikant Survase Prabhu, Nissan Sharma Prabhu, Nitya Navali Devidasi, Neeraj Srivastav Prabhu, Prafulanand Madhav Prabhu, Shri Prada Lalita Devidasi, Vani Prabhu, Lekha Mataji, Raja Ramdas Prabhu, Thaneswar Prabhu, Sudevi Sundari Mataji, Radhika Bhakti Mataji. I didn't see Madan Khanda Prabhu, Hare Krishna. And also Rupsi Mataji, I didn't see her name. Maybe she may have joined. Maybe I may have missed her. Patit Pawan Prabhu, Hemangini Chauhan Mataji. I didn't see Gayatri today. Neither Sri Padma Manjari Mataji used to join early. She didn't join today. Ramakrishna and Lata Mataji. Pragya Nagpal. Sudhir Krishna Prabhu, Shaki Saran Devi Dasi, Anita Saha, Murli Gopal Prabhu, Nam Gopal Roy from Dhaka, and Pahuja. Always join. I ask the name and the number, but I haven't received yet, so I have to just say Pahuja, Haribol. So let's hear the wonderful song before we will read from the Jaiva Dharma. Hare Krishna.
Sarandra Bhranting Surad Amala Kanting Gajagating Hari Premunmatang Trita Paramasatvam Smitamukham Sada Ghurna Nitram Kara Kalita Vetram Kalividam Bhaje Nityanandam Bhajanatarakandam Niravadhi Rasanamagaram Swajanagana Sarvaswamatulam Tadiyaika Prana Pramita Vasudha Janavapatim Sada Premunmadam Param Aviditam Manda Manasam Bhaje Nityanandam Bhajanatarakandam Niravadhi Sachishunu Preshtham Nikhila Jagadishtham Sukhamayam Karo Majjivo Dharana Karanotama Karunam Hare Rakyanadva Bhava Jaradhi Garvonatiharam Bhaje Nityanandam Bhajanatarakandam Niravadhi Aye Phrataneenam Kalikalushinam Kimnu Bhavita Tatha Prayaschittam Rachaya Yad Anayashatai Me Rajanti Tvamitham Saha Bhagavata Mantra Yatiya Bhaje Nityanandam Bhajanatarakandam Niravadhi Yadishtam Re Bhrata Guru Hari Hari Dhvanamanisham Tato Vasamsaram Buddhi Taranadayo Mailage Idam Bahu Sute Ratati Ratayanyah Pratigriham Bhaje Nityananda साराम्भोनिधि हरणकुम्भोद्भवमहो सतां श्रेयसिन्धुनक्ति कुमुदबन्धुं समुदितम् खलश्रेणिस्फुर्जित्तिमिरहर सूर्य प्रभमम् भजे नित्यानन्दं भजनतरुकन्दं निरवधि नटन्तं गायन्तं हरिम् अनुवदन्तं पथि पथि व्रजन्तं पश्यन्तं स्वम् अपि न दयन्तं जनगणम् प्रकुर्वन्तं शन्तं स करुणाद्रेकन्तं प्रकलनात् भजे नित्यानन्दं भजनतरुकन्दं निरवधि सुभिप्राणं भ्रातुकर सरसिजं कोमलतरम् मीठो वक्त्रालोकोच्छलित परमानन्दहृदयम् भ्रमन्तमाधुर्यैरहह मदयन्तं पुरजनान् भजे नित्यानन्दं भजनतरुकन्दं निरवधि रसानामाधारं रसिक परसद्वैष्णवधानम् रसागारं सारं पतित तटितारं स्मरनतः परं नित्यानन्दाष्टकम् इदमपूर्वं पठति यः तदमृतन्दाब्जं स्फुरतु नितरां तस्य हृदये भजे नित्यानन्दम्.
Thank you very much, Ishwar Krishna Prabhu, for playing a wonderful song. So we will be praying at the divine lotus feet of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, that when we read the Jaiva Dharma, his wonderful work, may those instructions and the knowledge remain within our heart. So we pray at his divine lotus feet. So we will be reading the question Vrajanath is keep on asking, and Raghunath Das Babaji is answering. A wonderful way Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written this book. So we will continue reading. I think there is a long paragraph, so I'm not going to read what we read yesterday. So we will just continue. Vrajanath. If spirit and matter differ generically in their natures, how any analogous comparison could be appropriate? Raghunath Das Babaji. In material nature, there are gradations of status, which the Nayayika logicians described as nitya. However, such complete discrepancy of status does not exist between matter and spirit. Provisionally, we have discussed and established that spiritual state of Chit is reality and that matter is merely its vitiated transformation and reflection. The transformed material reality is distinguished in several ways from the original spiritual reality. Although many affinities between the two remains. For example, in sleet rain, half of the downpour is snow and the rest is cold rainwater. A portion of the snow has been transformed to produce the rainwater and has thus acquired a dissimilar status from its original condition as snow. However, the snow and the rainwater are still similar because of their coolness. Similarly, in the case of hot and cold water, they are both the same in their quality of liquidity, but they differ in temperature. Hence, we can see that certain traits of the original object persist despite its transformation into a derivative object. This material world is a reflection and transformation of the spiritual world. Yet, because there are certain characteristics in material nature still similar to those of the spiritual world, spiritual subjects are discussed using appropriate explanatory analogies that take advantage of these similarities. Other method is called the Arundhati Darshan Nyaya, the logical principle of recognizing something more hidden and subtle by the aid of a large and easily noticeable object that is near to the subtle object. The dim Arundhati star is found in the night sky by first finding the bright and obvious star nearby. By comparing the gross characteristics of matter with its opposite nature, spirit, we can surmise the esoteric truths of the spiritual nature because certain characteristics inherent in the material nature are close to the spiritual truth. The pastime of Sri Krishna are absolutely spiritual. There is no contamination by mundane characteristics. However, when these supramundane topics of Braj from the Srimad Bhagavatam are discussed in assemblies, individuals in the audience receive different results, each according to their level of spiritual consciousness. The gross materialistic thinks that these narrations are stories similar to those in fiction novels and about ordinary heroes and heroines. The Madhyama Adhikari applies the Arundhati Darshan principle and perceives the spiritual truth underlying the descriptions. He experiences sublime bliss because of his devotional mood and faithful approach to the subject. The Uttama Adhikari becomes immersed in these sublime pastimes, directly relishing the pure transcendental rasa. What other means are there beside this principle of Nyaya to instruct the jivas about the absolute truth? How many the conditioned soul realize an ineffable subject matter, which is the faculty of the material mind and emotion, cannot penetrate. And then back in its illuminatory glory, I see no alternative to analogies and principles such as Arunadhati Darshan Nyaya. The inherent nature of the material object is that they are found either similar to another material object or different from another material object. However, this is not the case with the Supreme Lord and his energies, which are simultaneously one and different. One must accept the reality that Sri Krishna and his Jiva Shakti, along with her product, the unlimited Jivas, are inconceivably and simultaneously one with and different from each other. Vrajanath, wherein lies the distinction between Ishwar and the Jiva? Raghunath Das Babaji. First, I shall enumerate the eternal similarities between Ishwar and the Jiva, and later their eternal distinctions. The Supreme Lord is the embodiment of knowledge, the symbol of omniscience, and greatest consoler, the self-manifest highest divinity, the illuminator of others, the Kshetagna, the knower of the field of action, the self-determined, and the enjoyer. These self-same qualities are also present in the Jiva, but marginally. The Lord absolutely epitomizes this characteristic because he is the unlimited proprietor of the absolute supreme potency. However, in contrast, the Jiva, because of his diminutive size and inestimable potency, possesses the same characteristics, but in minimal degree. Thus, although there exists a disparity in size and nature between the Lord and the Jiva, in respect to the qualities that both possess, there is a close affinity. The omniscient Supreme Lord is the controller and master of the Swarup Shakti, Jiva Shakti, and Maya Shakti. These varieties of his Shaktis are his maid servants, ready to execute his binding alone without individual prerogatives. The qualities of the Lord are certainly present within the Jiva in minuscule amounts. Nevertheless, the Jiva is still subject and subordinate to the dictates of the Lord's Shakti. In the teaching of the Dasmula, 5th verse, the word Maya does not exclusively indicate the mundane Jad Maya, but also very definitely indicates the Swarup Shakti of the Lord, which is also known as Yoga Maya. According to etymology, Miyate Anyaya iti Maya, that by which one can measure is Maya. The Shakti of the Lord that connects Sri Krishna to the spiritual world, to the Jiva, and to the material nature is also known as Maya. Sri Krishna is the Lord of Maya, and the Jiva is her captive slave. The Svetara Upanishad 4:9-10 comments, Yasman Mai Srijate Viswan Etat Tasmim Chanya Mayaya Saniruddha Mayam tu praktim Vrityanmayinam tu Maheswaram Tasya Vayava Bhutas tu Veptam Sarvam Idam Jagat. The ingredient with which the Supreme Godhead, the Lord of Maya, creates this universe and into which the captive of Maya, the Jiva, entered is known as Prakriti or Maya. The Supreme Lord, controller of Maya, pervades the entire creation in his universal form. According to this quotation from the Vedas, the word Mai refer to the Lord of the Maya, Sri Krishna. The word Prakriti means the Sampurna Shakti, the complete absolute energy. This preeminent superiority and absolute nature is the divine prerogative of the Supreme Lord. The Jiva neither possesses these traits in present conditioned state, nor even when he is liberated. The eternal distinction between the Jiva and the Bhagwan is stated in the Brahma Sutra 4417. Jagat Vyapara Varijam Prakaranad Ashum Hititam Tvat. The work of creation, maintenance, and governance of the entire material and spiritual world can be enacted by the Supreme Brahman alone, and no other individual can perform these activities. The liberated jivas are able to conduct other works, but not his. The comment of the Taittiriya Upanishad on this topic is Yato va imani bhutani jayante. The Supreme Brahman is the one who is the primal source of all the living entity, the sustainer of everything, and at the same time, the destination into whom the total dissolutions enters. Even if one stretches the meaning of the words the jiva, liberated or otherwise, is not indicated anywhere in this verse as performing the activities of creation, maintenance, and destruction. In the entire Shruti and Smriti of the Veda scriptures, Bhagwan alone has been accredited with controlling the universal affair, never the jiva. Hypothetically, if the individual jivas were to be entrusted with such immense power of creations, maintenance, and destructions, then humanity would be faced with the unwelcome philosophical predicament known as Bhav Ishvara Dos, the faulty concept of many individual Ishvaras. Hence, one should clearly understand that even liberated souls are inadequate in the matter of creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the cosmic manifestation. This eternal distinction between the jiva and the Supreme Lord is always applicable and inescapable. Therefore, one should realize that the statement, the jiva is the eternal servitor of Sri Krishna, is an actual Mahavakya, an important Vedic dictum. Brajanath. If the eternal difference is perfectly and conclusively proved, then when and how does the principle of non-difference become an active principle? Furthermore, if this concept of eternal non-difference actually does become active, shall we have to accept ultimately the concept of nirvana, the jiva merging into Brahma? Raghunath Das Babaji. No, my dear son, that is emphatically not the case. At no stage does the jiva become non-different from the Supreme Lord. Brajana, we have some minutes. Yet, did you not say that they are inconceivably and simultaneously one and different? Raghunath Das Babaji. On the basis of his spiritual nature and qualities, the jiva is eternally non-different from Sri Krishna. But on the ground of his spiritual identity, the jiva is eternally distinct from Krishna. Their oneness is eternal and their distinction is also eternal. And the aspect of eternal distinction between them is preeminent and conspicuous. For example, one may say, this house is the property of Devadatta. Simultaneously, one may also state, Devadatta is not present in the house. Of the two simultaneously correct statements, the fact that the house is the property of Devadatta is clearly the preeminent statement of the two. Another example from the material world is the visible sky. It is inert matter and has a source. But in spite of its having oneness with its source, the general outer space, the visible sky, is self-evident by its distinction from its source, which is, of course, the outer space. In fact, the identity of the visible sky is discerned by these actual distinctions from its source. Thus, the eternal difference of the jiva from the Supreme Lord, in spite of his simultaneous eternal oneness with the Supreme Lord, actually bestow upon the jiva his eternal identity and is thus the most important aspect of their eternal relationship. Brajanath, kindly tell me more about the eternal nature of the jiva. Raghunath Das Babaji. The jiva is an infathomable spiritual entity endowed by his very nature with consciousness. Thus, he has knowledge. He possesses self-identity, is an enjoyer, a thinker, and an intelligent being. The jiva is the proprietor of an eternal identity that is extremely esoteric and subtle. The material human body is made up of the limbs, ears, nose, etc. Similarly, the spiritual body of the jiva is embellished with perfect spiritual features, and this is his eternal form. When the jiva becomes conditioned to upadhis, false identities cover his atomic, eternal spiritual form. The first cover is his linga sarir, the subtle mental body, and the second covering is his thula sarir, gross physical body. I think there is some description is going. The answer is not finished. Raghunath Das Babaji is still giving some more detailed explanation, so that we will continue tomorrow. So we will stop here. We want to keep our schedule on time because time is really important. Time is passing by very quickly from our life. If we cannot realize that we have spent half of our life and we can see it has just like a moment we were in the childhood, we were in the college, we started our family life, and now the dwindling time has come. Very fast the time goes. So let's utilize more and more time, whatever time left. I think there was a wonderful one example given by the Braj Bihari Prabhu that one Maharaj, I forgot the name of Maharaj, but he came to the Chapati temple and he has the balls of all the ribbons. So from one diagonally, one corner to other, first he expanded the ribbon and two people were held there, holding the ribbon. And then Maharaj says, okay, how many hours do average people sleep? 8 hours, which is 1/3 of their time, 24 hours. So they cut the 1/3 ribbon. And then they say, okay, how long it will take to clean our body, eat, and all necessities of the body? Maybe 2 hours. Cut the ribbon for 2 more hours. How many hours does the people work to maintain their family life? Now in a corporate world, maybe more than 10 hours. So cut that. And the sleeping time. So then very little piece was left. And just to demonstrate, Maharaj again hold that small piece and then he expanded another ribbon across the room to show us that actually how much time that we have that we can control. Very little. And that also, if we don't able to control, then what is the use of this whole time that we spend in this material world? And if we not get what we want, what are we doing in this material world? We should ask ourselves. So time is the essence. It passes by every moment. If we are not careful, then we will waste so much time. But if you start making the notes where you spend the time of the day and analyze the situation that, hey, is it really necessary to do these things? Analyze these things and then you can cut down those activities and then you utilize the time for spiritual activities. This is the goal of the life. So our ribbons should not be cut more than 25% at least. Then we can say that yes, we are staying fixed and then Krishna will become really merciful to all of us, seeing our dedication. He will maintain everything nicely. We don't have to worry. So with those thoughts, I took 2 more minutes. With those thoughts, always remain happy, jubilant, and totally fearless. And whoever you come across, give them a kind word that their life can also become jubilant and successful and totally fearless. With those thoughts, I would like to offer my humble obeisances at the desk of these wonderful devotees that they are working hard. I can't imagine, like when I see Ravi Prabhu or Ishwar Krishna Prabhu, that they are still working, having that family responsibility, and still they join at 2 o'clock sharp, even earlier, every day, without missing. Sikha Gupta Mataji also join at 2 o'clock every day. And there are other devotees. Later on, they join between 2 to 2:15, sincerely applying. And they can do it. So we should be able to do it also. Seek for those associations. So I want to offer my humble obeisances at the desk of those wonderful devotees from Houston, from India, New Jersey, Virginia, Boston, Boise, Atlanta, Austin, Alachua, College Station, Tempe, Phoenix, San Jose, Dallas, Detroit, Chicago, Naperville, Philadelphia, Charlotte, New Orleans, Baltimore, Portland, Dhaka, and Orlando. Yeah, Anita Shaha also joined from Bangladesh every day, which is very, very nice. Thank you very much, all of you. Have a blissful day. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.